It is week 7 of the fantasy football season, and whether you are 5-1 or 1-5, we're here to help you dominate your fantasy football leagues. And so, of course, we have to bring in Sports Illustrated's senior fantasy analyst, Michael Fabiano, to help us with those tough wide receiver start-sit decisions. Fabs, you got a guy on your start list this week that is a guy we both loved coming into this season.
Yeah, and that's Brandin Cooks. He's been a target hog. I mean, 7 targets in all but one game this season, at least 7 targets. And now he's got the Cardinals, which this is going to be a negative game script for Houston, which means they're going to have to throw the ball a lot in the second half. And the Cardinals have actually allowed the 4th most fantasy points per game and 7 touchdowns of receivers lined out wide. So Brandin Cooks needs to be in your lineup. I think he could be a top 15 wide receiver this week. And the same can be said of Sterling Shepard. I mean, all the Giants wide receivers are hurt at this point, right? Kenny Galladay's banged up. Kadarius Toney's banged up. Darius Slayton's been out as well. And so even if 2 or 3 of these guys are out, look at the volume that Sterling Shepard could see this week against the Panthers. Last week, he led the team in targets. He had 14. He had 10 catches. And Carolina has allowed 7 wide receivers to score at least 14 points against them. So get Sterling Shepard into your lineup. He's going to be useful during Bimageddon.
Brandin Cooks will be in all my starting lineups this week, including the one for the SI Invitational. We're facing off this week, Fabs. I mean, if you guys
take it easy on me, Piacenti. Take it easy on me.
If you guys think your work leagues are tough, come play with us. It is not easy. Fabs is also starting DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney this weekend. All right, but if we should have the luxury, which wide receivers are we going to sit this week?
Yeah, I'd be aware of Henry Ruggs. He had a big game last week, so I wouldn't chase the points. You probably have to flex him this week with so many teams off and injuries across the board. But, you know, he's averaging right around 4 targets a game. That's not a ton. He had failed to score more than 9 points in his previous 2 games. And against the Eagles, well, the matchup's not great. They've allowed just 2 touchdowns and the 4th fewest fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers. So if you start Ruggs, temper expectations. Same thing with T. Higgins. He's kind of been quiet, right, since he came back from injury. 76 yards, no touchdowns. This is a week where the Ravens defense has got to step up. It's a big AFC North game. And right now, this defense has allowed 2 touchdowns and the 3rd fewest fantasy points per game to receivers lined out wide. So Higgins at best is a risk-reward flex player.
And you're also sitting Michael Pittman Jr. versus San Francisco and Jacoby Myers versus the Jets. Look, everyone, this is a tough week for decisions. A lot of star wide receivers are not there. There is no Amari Cooper. There is no Mike Williams. There is no Justin Jefferson. A lot of studs. So you got to head over to si.com/fantasy. Check out this full start-sit list by Michael Fabiano. He's also got your quarterbacks, tight ends, wide receivers, defense, and even kickers. Check it out, si.com/fantasy.